You're watching Sun TV, broadcasting to the world from studios in Providenciales in the beautiful by nature Turks and Caicos Islands. Sun TV, your source for real news as it happens.
In our headlines today, the British government receives the Caricom fact-finding report but does not respond. Ericsson identified as the company given the contract for Lime's technical support and the Salvation Army's Red Kettle Drive kicks off. I'm Tadneen Zafferlin and thanks for watching this edition of Sun TV News. The British government has received the strongly worded and powerful Caricom fact-finding report on the Turks and Caicos Islands. But according to Caricom and TCI officials, the UK has not yet responded to the document. Acting Premier Honorable John Hugh Gardner and Caricom's Assistant Secretary General Ambassador Colin Granderson told reporters on Monday, November 25th, that the 14-page report was sent to UK and they only acknowledged receiving it. In June of this year, Caricom sent a fact-finding team to the Turks and Caicos Islands after UK Foreign Secretary William Hague wrote them a letter challenging certain statements made by Premier Dr. Rufus Ewing at a February 2013 Caricom meeting in Haiti. The high-level team, which was led by the Bahamas Minister of Foreign Affairs Fred Mitchell, came to the TCI. They found strong evidence which supported what Premier Ewing told Caribbean leaders. The fact-finding then made a number of key recommendations, including referendum on the acceptance of British rule under the present constitution. The Caricom team also recommended a Truth and Justice Commission exercise similar to what took place in South Africa. As an alternative to the current SIPT and prosecutions, because of the long time that is taking to conclude the matters and the feeling expressed by many locals that the pending cases are costing too much money and has the TCI Society on pause. Acting Premier Don Hugh Gardner told Monday's press conference that the Turks and Caicos Islands government has started working on some of the recommendations that are contained in the report, while Ambassador Granderson revealed that Caricom will raise the very important report with the UK at a meeting early this year.
The report was made. The report was sent to the government of the Turks and Caicos Islands. A copy was also sent to the British authorities. The report makes a number of recommendations. The recommendations are for both the TCI government and for the British authorities to carry out as they see fit. I don't want to throw the ball across to the minister, but I think that Caricom continues to follow the situation. But I think the report is extremely important. It may take some time, perhaps, for it to be properly digested because it covers a number of areas. The recommendations also are fairly wide-ranging. Early next year, there's going to be a meeting of the UK Caribbean Forum, and that will give us obviously an opportunity to look to get more information with regard as to how they perceive it. But apart from acknowledgement of receipt, no.
I can say that the report has been received, and it is something that government has received with interest, and we are working with HMG to initiate as best as we are able the recommendations that are there. You would note over the last recent weeks, certainly at the last meeting of the House of Assembly, a committee was appointed, or the members of a committee were named that will be appointed to review the Constitution. That was a major recommendation of that report, and it is something that is well on the way. It's something that we would expect that committee to begin its work in the next several weeks, and that there would be a report to the Parliament sometime before the end of this financial year, in the hopes that we can then beginning after the new financial year in April, to really push these changes and how best we can have them signed on to and accepted by HMG.
Ambassador Granderson was part of a Caricom delegation that was recently in the Turks and Caicos Islands meeting with a number of senior government officials and other individuals and groups as part of a consultation which is looking at a relevance of Caricom. They are also trying to come up with a strategic plan to transform the Caricom Secretariat to be in a better position to produce results for people of the member states.
An important aspect of this exercise has been to carry out consultations in the members and associate member states of the Caribbean community. This, if I'm not mistaken, it's the 16th consultation which has been carried out. There'll be another one. One or two will be carried out also by video conferencing. But these consultations are extremely important because they give us the opportunity to speak, to interface with the government, the governments of the member states, associate member states. Interface obviously with government stakeholders, permanent secretaries, heads of department. We just had, for example, a meeting with some of the senior officials of the TCI Public Service. Meet also with civil society, interface also with yourselves, members of the media, non-governmental organizations, and very important also to be able to interface with the youth, because it's quite clear that if we're looking down the road, we need to take into account the views of the youth of the region, or the future of the region. Consultation. Obviously, there are a number of common themes that come up. Things like, for example, the environment, the importance not only of the environment, but also protection of the environment, protection of our unique biodiversity. Another point that was made, obviously, has to do with economic development, sharing of information. To what extent can, for example, the TCI benefit from, which is undergoing its own development pains? To what extent can it benefit from the experience and the expertise that has been garnered in other parts of the community that have undergone the same sort of exercise? The importance of information sharing. The fact that not only here in the TCI, but it's something that we found in other of the consultations, that people tend to know very little about Caricom. And what's very interesting, and if the acting premier will allow me, I use his expression, the fact that is there a Caricom in action? Yes, there's a Caricom in action. I think that people tend to know about, for example, SEDIMA, which deals with disaster management. They tend to know about the Exams Council, CXC, without realizing that these agencies are examples of Caricom in action. So Caricom is not just a secretariat, Caricom is not just governments coming together, but Caricom works in a number of areas of what we call functional cooperation, having to do with health, having to do with exams, having to do with meteorology, having to do with aviation security. There's, for example, a Caricom institution with the acronym is CASOS, which plays a very important role in making sure that we all accomplish standards. There's another agency that is called CrossQ, which basically has to do with the setting of standards in a number of areas. All these things are extremely important. They're part of functional cooperation. But it's quite clear that one of the points made during this consultation here in TCI is the importance of information sharing, the importance of communication. That perhaps we don't, not that we don't put out enough information, but perhaps the information needs to be tailored in a much more effective way to be able to how should I put it, to be able to make an impact on the public opinion of the various member states.
Meantime, Acting Premier Don Hugh Gardner said the Turks and Caicos Islands will be moving towards being a full member of Caricom when the time is right. The Turks and Caicos Islands has been an associate member of Caricom since July 1991. This country is one of 5 associate members. However, Montserrat, which like the TCI is a British overseas territory, is one of the 15 full members of Caricom. Montserrat, which is about the same size of Providenciales, has 5,000 residents, and half of the island is not inhabited because of volcanic activity. The acting premier explained what would be required for the Turks and Caicos Islands to become a full member.
The issue of full membership in Caricom is a matter that is left to the government and people of the TCI with the concurrence of the British government. And what would be required for the TCI to become a full member of Caricom would be for the United Kingdom government to issue a deed of entrustment to the TCI government in respect of Caricom matters. That has not been done to the extent that we would require to become a full member in Caricom, and it is an issue that may well be become live as we move forward. Where we are now, we certainly understand the worth of Caricom to the TCI and to the and we would certainly do our best to continue to work with Caricom, even in our position as an associate member, to achieve what is best for all the people of the TCI and by extension the wider Caribbean community. These instruments could be motivated by the local government requesting and or for by HMG deciding that there is a need, or that even if there is not a need, that reserving unto themselves the issue of TCI's interaction with Caricom is no longer in the best interest of TCI. And so when the time is right, the TCI government will make whatever moves it deems appropriate to secure its full membership in Caricom. But that is where we are now.
Ambassador Granderson said that some associate members like the Turks and Caicos felt excluded from certain Caricom activities, and he promised that this concern will be seriously addressed.
It's very important to hear the voices of the individual member states. And for example, something that came out very strongly this morning was the fact that some associate members feel excluded from certain of the activities of Caricom. I think that it's very important to hear that. It's very important to see to what extent that perception can be rectified. We know that, for example, with certain projects that are funded by donors, the donors insist that they, how should I put it, only the independent member states of Caricom benefit from them. I mentioned a bit earlier the importance of information sharing. Not only sharing information, but sharing in very good time. So if there are, for example, certain activities, certain programs, certain projects that have to be carried out at the level of Caricom, including at the level of associate member states, that everybody be given the information in very good time. It's something that we try to do to the best of our, as best as we possibly can, but apparently from what we've heard, there are times when obviously we haven't done as good a job as we should do. So as I said, I'm hearing that voice, getting the perceptions of individual member states. That's very important, because when the report is put together, it means that it gives us the opportunity to address some of these perceptions, some of these shortcomings that would have been identified by various member states. And I'm sure that some of these shortcomings that have been perceived are not only of one particular member state, but are felt by others.
Sun TV can confirm that Lime Turks and Caicos will be outsourcing its technical support services to Ericsson, the world's biggest supplier of equipment for wireless networks. During a press conference on Monday, January 25th, Ramel, the CEO for Lime's Northern Caribbean cluster, declined to disclose the name of the company, which questioned by Sun TV.
No, I'm not. As per some agreements, I'm not allowed to say the name. I think if you do a little research, you can find out, yes. From a pure legal and contractual perspective, I'm not able to talk about it, and I don't want to break the law.
However, investigations by Sun TV revealed that Ericsson will have a multi-million-dollar contract to manage, install, and repair Lime's fixed, mobile internet, and data networks. This means, for example, that Ericsson will install devices in homes and monitor activities while repairing damage to cell towers. A similar arrangement between Lime and Ericsson is already in place in Barbados and Jamaica. It was announced Monday that about 20 technicians from Lime, Turks and Caicos Islands will soon be made redundant because of the outsourcing. Ericsson, which is based in Sweden, has over 1,000 networks in more than 180 countries using its network equipment. More than 40% of the world's mobile traffic passes through Ericsson networks. The company also supplies telecommunications equipment for Digicel. The Salvation Army's Red Cattle Drive received a boost on Tuesday when Graceway, IGA, Digicel, and some TCI residents made donations to the worthy cause. The kind gesture took place outside the main IGA supermarket, where Colonel Raphael Mason and Digicel CEO E.J. Saunders explained the purpose behind the Red Cattle Drive.
The Red Cattle Drive is about raising funds. It began when some years ago in the US, it was Christmas time, and there was this officer who saw the needs of the people and just had this huge pot and asked people to put stuff in there. And that gave birth to a tradition that has spread across the Salvation Army world, where at Christmas time we have these kettles out and people are encouraged to give, and we in turn use that in our outreach to others. I need to point out that although it's done at Christmas time, the proceeds are not restricted to Christmas, because as we are very careful to realize, need knows no season. Need is not a Christmas thing. It's right the year through. And so what we get at Christmas time is used to help people at Christmas, but right the year through. We're using this to, one, provide meals for some school children. We're using this also to help. We have a program on North Caicos where we transport seniors who are not able, because of their age and disability, to move around. We provide transportation for them on a regular basis to go out and do their shopping and all the rest of it. And this is greatly appreciated by them. We also help with meals. We help with parents getting groceries for their family. We help with school fees for some children, and some needs that we're sometimes even not aware of as they're made known to us. As long as we're able to meet these needs, we try. Unfortunately, we never have enough. Well, I'm expecting that we'll raise as much as we can. I'm hoping that we could probably raise about somewhere in the region of 25,000, 30,000. It sounds ambitious, but the truth is that the magnitude of the needs make that a drop in the bucket. But if we could raise that, we'd be very grateful, because the need is there.
We are always happy when we give back. I think the Salvation Army, we try to support those organizations that really take the time to give back a bit more, as much as it takes in. Sometimes there's these charities that take in quite a bit of money but don't get to put all of it back into the community. Based on its history, the Salvation Army gives back almost everything that it raises. It's very well known around the world for that. So we're happy to be able to partner with the Salvation Army. It's me and my capacity as Chamber of Commerce President that's also supporting the Salvation Army. And again, just like Digicel, we're happy that we're able to support them in this drive. There's no big greater cause than to be able to do something for someone that's fortunate than yourself.
Well, that's our Sun TV News Brief for today. Join us again tomorrow when we bring you real news as it happens directly to your computer, mobile device, or smartphone. If you know anyone living overseas who would like to keep up with what is happening in the Turks and Caicos Islands, get them to email us at sun@suntci.com so we can add them to our mailing list to get Sun TV News. Thanks for watching. I'm Tadleen Dafferlin.